Good evening and welcome. Final 2 hours of your week on the Jordan Rich Show. We wrap it up for you in a nice little bow, and we have a lot to do tonight. Joining me in this first hour, and I'm thrilled that he's here because he came bearing gifts, is German Lamb, owner and founder of Glam Foods, G-L-A-M, Glam Foods. On the web, glamfoodsllc.com. Welcome, my friend. Nice to see you.
Jordan, it's great to be here.
You didn't come empty-handed. First of all, before we talk about anything else, thank you for what you brought. Why don't you tell the audience what you brought in tonight?
Well, before I came here, I stopped at Hannaford this morning and actually picked up some ingredients. And what you had was a tomato basil wrap with smoked salmon, watercress, apples, baby cucumbers, Greek Chobani vanilla, yogurt, mustard grain, honey ginger.
That's a lot in one sandwich.
Well, we're not even done yet. Capers, fresh dill, mint, to touch it off with white truffle oil.
It was delicious. Absolutely delicious. And so healthy. That's the beauty of it.
Well, and also, all these ingredients I just mentioned, they're common and they're basic, and I just wanted to give you something simple but flavorful where you had few, especially right now.
Sure.
It's 10 o'clock in the evening,
We
Sunday.
could use a little fuel till midnight,
Sure.
absolutely. Well, you call yourself a food coach, and you're a chef with a great background, and you're doing something very unique. You're cutting a swath for yourself that's very special. Why don't you tell me and my audience what your special avenue here is with food, because it's different than a lot of other chefs.
Well, it all started working at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, mid-'80s, the original, the Ritz. Call that my MBA. They taught me everything about the food, how to train, how to think, how to act like a chef, and you work very hard.
Right.
From there, you start to dream about food. So now I teach people, think about in sports. You know, we teach kids how to ride a bike, we teach our athletes how to play, but I teach you how to eat and cook and fuel your vehicle. So this way, your body, your mind, your soul, you have energy, endurance, and performance with the food groups.
Now, Chef Lamb, did you study well beyond culinary school and all that and working in a place like the Ritz or down on the Cape at...
Chatham Bars Inn.
Oh, Chatham Bars Inn. Fantastic. That's one thing. But now you've really taken it to another level. You work with a fantastic nutritionist, I understand, and she's featured on your website. And you've looked at ingredients and what we can do in our own kitchens to eat healthier, to bring up a family that isn't venturing into obesity. There's a lot of stuff that we need to talk about here, but it really is a love of good food, but good food that will fuel our bodies.
Absolutely. And when you visit my website, the young lady, her name is Frances, and I call her the scientist. She knows everything about calories, nutrition, vitamins. What I know is the basic food groups, and what do you do with them, and how do you bring life to it, and how do you actually bring passion, energy, confidence, but it has to be cost effective.
Right.
You have to know time management, but at the end, how does it taste?
You do have passion. I mean, you came in here and you're just full of energy and enthusiasm. You also, on the website, I was noticing, have great cooking instructions and tips for guys, because I think a lot of men, even in this age of equality, quote unquote, a lot of men are a little bit leery about stepping into the kitchen and really doing anything more than heating up the little cheese toasties. So what do you work, what was that I saw on your site about men? And you're teaching men how to cook and put together simple meals that are effective?
This Wednesday, turn to Channel 5, Chronicle at 7:30. Glam Foods will be there, and actually it will be a segment on teaching young teenagers about how cooking is so easy. And I say this to guys, it's so easy to approach that beautiful woman that you like, and you say, you know what, I'm going to take you to the farmer's market, or I'm going to take you to your local produce area, and now we're going to go to the wine area, and now we're just going to pick a wine, now we're just going to make something up.
Well, there's something about cooking, and I don't have this knack, but I would like to at some point in my life. There's something about preparing a meal that goes beyond simply putting food in your belly, isn't there? It almost takes on a spiritual sense, and I want you to comment on what it means to you to prepare the meals you prepare.
Well, you know what? I love sports. Growing up, I played sports. I ran the marathon. I went to all-boy Catholic school, and now I'm a hockey dad. I have my own kids who play sports, and there's one thing in sports you always hear about is prevention and where your body breaks down. And what food does is it fuels the vehicle. It fuels the vehicle. Now your body doesn't crash, but your body gets stronger.
Not just filling your tummy and not just, like you say, eating for the sake of eating, but eating so that you enjoy the food, but you also reap some benefits from it.
If you talk about eating and healthy, and it's all about basic. It's all about fluff versus substance. So if you're an athlete, you can do everything that you can to have the edge when you're playing, but how about when you're not playing? And that's the key thing right now is what are you doing to your body? You're going to the gym, you're working out, but what are you actually feeding the vehicle?
Right. My guest is Chef German Lamb. That's German, just the way it sounds, lamb, L-A-M. On the web, Glam Foods, G-L-A-M, glamfoodsllc.com. We're talking about his work as a food coach. He does customized in-home cooking consultations. He works at businesses and travels all over. You have, I know, some plans for a TV program you're working on. You've got a book, all kinds of things in the works. Because you're finding, I think, a lot of interest in this, aren't you? Despite the fact that people are eating a lot of crappy food out there. Aren't you finding a lot of people thirsty, hungry for this kind of stuff?
Absolutely. You just mentioned Ray.
Yes.
Who owns...
we just mentioned it off the air. This gentleman who owns a couple of car dealerships.
And he's one of my clients. Mm-hmm. And what I did was went to his locations and talk about health and wellness, but real. I talk about, what are you having for breakfast? What are you having for lunch? What are you having for dinner? So it's actually giving people real solutions and letting them know that cooking is so easy. It's so simple.
Well, you mentioned the ingredients that were in that roll-up sandwich, that beautiful wrap, and it was a long list of ingredients, but you didn't have to go to some far-off specialty store to get that, right?
You could just go to your local supermarket. It's all about basic. And think about that dessert that you had, the oatmeal.
Well, let's talk about that, too, because you said you had dessert, and I said, well, where is it? And it's in this big bucket, and it's a liquid concoction, and it is... Rob, did you try that? Delicious? Now, Rob is my producer, and I got to tell you this. Rob, as long as I've known him, is a soft drink and Doritos guy. I mean, he's healthy as a horse, by the way. Why don't you describe what it is? Because it's amazing, and you call it, if we can say this, it's after 10 o'clock, Viagra, the natural way. What is it that I was consuming?
Well, you know what? When I was at the car deal, I talked to the guys, hey, guys, are you having Viagra? And they go, really? I said, yeah. I said, the thing about this Viagra is 24 hours, it keeps on ticking, and there's no side effects. And the thing is, it's cost-effective. What it is oatmeal, where there's dry cranberries, there's cinnamon, there's local apples, and there's honey. And if you think
and a little bit of water.
A little bit, of course, water.
Of course.
And from there, you could add soy milk to it, you could add regular milk to it, you could add peanut butter to it, you could add dried fruits to it. So I call it as a freestyle snack food that you could have during the whole day.
You could eat it with a spoon, or you could just drink it down, as I did. And you do this now, you introduce these kind of things to kids, because you have hockey kids. And reaction from kids when you do this is what?
We had a tournament at the Waltham hockey tournament, and one of the kids on the team goes, you know what, just close your eyes, don't look at it, but it's good for you. So that really kind of made me laugh, that they knew that it looked disgusting and it was like Play-Doh. What is this kind of cinnamon? It's kind of reddish, kind of gray, and it's oatmeal. I mean, people go, ugh, how can you have oatmeal taste good?
Believe me, folks, the furthest thing from oatmeal, it is absolutely splendid. Let's take a quick break. We'll continue when we come back following the break with Chef German Lamb, owner and founder of Glam Foods, on the web, GLAM, glamfoodsllc.com. This is WBZ, JR. Be right back, right after this. We are back. Welcome. We have in the first segment a very interesting chap and a great guy, German Lamb. He is a chef and the owner and founder of Glam Foods, LLC, a passion for healthy cooking, of course. Has a tremendous background working for some of the finest establishments, and now he's on his own. And, we were talking during the break that you don't offer people recipes. That'd be easy. You could give them a recipe and say, here, take it and go from here. You provide them with sort of a base to work from, sort of introducing them to ingredients again. And am I right on that?
Recipes are reference and recipes are guides. If you want to bake, you need recipes because it's science. Cooking, I call it spontaneous. It's like in sports. Once you know the basic, it's up to you to become innovative. Because if you follow a recipe, what happens is you don't create the brand and you don't have an identity.
Yeah.
But if you cook with feeling, with love, and also you make mistakes, your games get better. So,
also, there's a component here that we kind of forget about. Kids and families in America, when you have innovative, interesting dishes, as opposed to the same old meat and potatoes every night, or worse, macaroni and cheese or frozen food, it really livens up the atmosphere around the table, doesn't it?
Food's like culture. I mean, I was born in Chile, Santiago, in South America, and I was exposed at an early age about, the Latin culture, about food. My background, I'm Asian. I love American food, working at the Ritz.
How could you not be involved with food with that background? Come on.
Well, at the Ritz, they opened my eyes to European, to Mediterranean, to Middle East. So now I call global food. When you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks, you're able to have a lot of flavors together where they combine. And think about that wrap that you had today. I mean,
it's delicious.
I mean, you're talking about over 14 ingredients.
Now, is there anything on the Chef German Lamb don't go there list? In other words, when you're talking with folks as a food coach, we know about foods that zap energy. We know about things that bring us down, or foods that are really just wholly unhealthy. I mean, is there anything that you advise people against? I know you're not technically a nutritionist. You have somebody working with you who is, but...
What I do is I think about the food that you haven't thought about. Example, fennel, eggplant, root vegetables. How about king oyster mushrooms? If you talk about the food groups, you have basic food groups. Now, then you have like exotic food groups. And those are the ones I try to educate. Because I love meat and potato. I mean, I love corned beef and cabbage. I love beef stew. I love, lamb. But I make it healthy.
Of course you love lamb. That's your last name without the B. Actually, you do make it healthy. When you shop in any supermarket now, even one that you've been shopping at years, you'll notice that there are so many more exotic vegetables, not exotic, but vegetables that are beyond just cucumbers and tomatoes. And it can be fun, and it certainly can be healthy to explore some of those, right?
Think about your local farmers market. I mean, Waltham on Saturdays, they have a great stand where they have farmers who work very hard to produce something so, tasteful and so pure.
You mentioned that you're going to be on Chronicle this Wednesday. That's
Yes.
Channel 5. Our colleagues at Channel 5 will watch for that at 7:30. You also told me about something you're doing. Is it at Braintree Hospital?
Yes,
Braintree Rehab?
May 20th is on a Thursday.
Now, that's pretty interesting. Why don't you share it with my audience?
Well, it's a stroke fair, and actually I will be doing a demonstration talking about how healthy eating, cooking will help you.
Even stroke victims need to think about their food, what they're eating, right?
Absolutely, and also, I have a friend of mine, and I call him my big brother. He's much older than I am, but he had stroke, and I saw what it did to him, and now he's recovering. But also, I did an event at his home, and I prepared these dishes that were healthy, and it brought life. I was like, wow. And I think that's what food does, because food nourishes the body.
Right.
And this one thing, it makes it stronger, because now you're not depending on medication, but you're actually depending on food.
And food has a chemical reaction. Everything does. And it can be a very positive chemical reaction, just as it can be a negative chemical reaction if you're saturating your body with lousy foods and foods that don't have any energy to them. So you've got a lot of interesting prospects here in this, and I know it's growing, and I'm thrilled that you're able to come in tonight. One of the thoughts here is that this could be a good way to work to combat the obesity problem, to have Chef Lamb and people like you helping us in the kitchen, not just telling us what to eat, what not to eat. Are you looking to try to help in that regard?
Think about obesity. Obesity is about education. And I think as parents and also kids, you have to educate them what happened when you take a certain food groups and now you place into the vehicle. And now it doesn't go away, it actually sits there. So the only way your body's going to grow strong is by having good substance. But if you add fluff to it, and I go back to, being an athlete in sports, your body's going to have an injury. You're going to fracture something, twist something. But what happened is, when you eat well, it prevents it. So even if you have a injury, your recovery, it's going to be quicker. But also, I think about moms before birth and after birth. And the way I look at it is whatever you eat, that's how your body's going to be. But how about this? Whatever you're eating now, before you become pregnant, your kid's going to have the same DNA. So if you want your kids to be strong and healthy, it's something like, hey, you know what? Start before it's like pre-planned. You're going to get pregnant. Let's start with some good basic food groups.
Before I let you go, I got to say, first of all, thanks for coming in. Thanks for the food. It was fantastic. You're wearing, a uniform which says Glam Foods, and of course, what does it say underneath that? It says, German E. Is that your middle initial?
Yes.
Okay, I can't read that for these guys, but it looks like not a traditional chef's outfit. Almost looks like a medical, like a doctor. I know doctors who wear that kind of. But I'm not saying you're a doctor, but I'm saying you're a food coach. You're doing more than just puttering around in the kitchen here. You're talking about helping us with our health. Is basically what
Absolutely. Think about you saying puttering. Think about in golf. Well, you go to the driving range, and the golf coach is going to actually teach you how to have your mechanics lined up. What I do is teach you how to have your kitchen kind of in a way where now it's efficient, but now your mechanics.
It's very, very interesting. I want people to find out more by going to Glam, that's Glam, glamfoodsllc.com, and you'll read all about this gentleman who hangs out in Waltham and all parts, and really interesting, and the food was delicious, and if you can, is any of that Viagra left over there? It's not really Viagra, folks. Look at that. You'd never know that is as tasty as it is, but it's fabulous. Got to consider that recipe for the late night shows. Pass along some to Steve Lavelli when he comes in as well. So good luck on all of your future plans, and we'll watch you on Chronicle this Wednesday. You're really a delightful guy. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Well, Jordan, thank you for having me here, and it's like I said, it was a pleasure to be here, and thank you for listening to this evening's show.
You bet. Here's to good eating. Go to glamfoodsllc.com. German Lamb, the chef, the owner, and the founder. This is WBZ. Thank you so much for being there.